Hi, I'm Chris from Gears and Queers.
And I'm Chris from Sparkplug TV.
And this is Fun Girly Car Time.
Before this week's episode of Fun Girly Car Time, I just wanted to get on here and let you guys know that we have now moved our episodes to Fridays at 9 a.m. If you've not noticed already, we have moved the scheduled day and time. It just works better with Chris and I's. This is Chris K, by the way. It just works better with our scheduling, so please bear with us as we make some shifts and changes. We do thoroughly enjoy making this podcast, so we're going to do the best that we can with our extremely busy schedules. We are a two-person show at this point, so thank y'all for your continued support and enjoy the show. Silence!
Silent ho.
Says the girl with the fucking dick earrings.
I am not very silent. I am a hoe. I am a hoe.
You are a hoe, but not late. Not as of late because you've been you've had your habit on.
My what?
Like a nun. You clearly didn't grow up Catholic.
I did not. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, like the hood that the nuns put on is called a habit.
I thought you were saying that like I was like
you had a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
No. Okay. Well. Wow. Is it like two B's, one B? How are we spelling her?
That is a great question that I do not know the answer to.
We're moving on. I did 1 year. I think it was like 20. It must have been like 2015 or 16. I was a nun for Halloween.
Okay.
And
did you have on pleaser, like black leather pleasers?
God, I wish. If I was doing that like in this day and age, yes, I would. But I remember taking a Snapchat, or like I'm assuming it was Snapchat because it was like like a selfie or like with text on it. I might still have the picture somewhere. And it was me in the nun outfit, and the text was, "When a DILF say he a priest."
maybe in the Jesuit church, but not in the staunch Catholic church.
I'll convert. It's okay.
There you go.
But yeah, anyway, now I'm wearing dick earrings.
Now you're wearing dick earrings. Yes. Yeah.
Natural progression.
There's no hope for you.
None.
There's no hope for any of us.
By proxy, there's none for you.
Yeah, that's why I said there's no hope for any of us. Anyways, so what's happening in the automotive world, or I guess your automotive world?
Well, I believe last week we talked about I had the 2023 Supra 3.0 Premium in the manual transmission, which is a no-cost option, by the way. You know that. And so she went back this Monday, and I don't have anything booked. I loved that car. You know what's funny though? I will say this actually. Have you heard about the JBL sound system in the Supra? Especially at launch, it was like not very well received. People were like, "This is like appallingly bad."
Some what's interesting about that is that the JBL sound system sounds great in some of their products and not so great in some of their other ones.
Right, and I'm like, I don't know, because like I thought the one in the Sequoia was pretty good and pretty balanced, but for some
Sequoia
reason,
one was okay.
For some reason, the Supra, and this one I have to admit seemed like it was tweaked. It seemed like it was better, but I hadn't driven any of my own vehicles for a week, and then I got in the 2006 Accord to drive to work on Monday after they came to pick up the Supra, and I was like, why does a 17-year-old Honda Accord have a better sound system than a brand new $60,000 car? And I like literally, I'm like, not only does it have better treble, has better like separation between like high and low frequencies,
yeah,
and better bass response, and it's an unbranded system, right? It was just like speakers and stereo,
probably like a 700 watt stereo system
in the Accord.
Yeah,
girl, no, like 160. Like,
oh, I guess that was generous, but well, but Honda has those three different tiers of sound system. They have like the lowest level one, and then they have like a mid one that is still just the Honda brand, and then they come with Bose after that. So
you're talking about like the new models.
Yeah.
Or even God, what is it the Acura was doing? I'm not even sure if they still do it. ELS, which is like Panasonic. You know what I did notice though? Actually, I would assume it's similar, but I have not taken the speakers out of the 2006 Accord, but I've taken the speakers out of the 1990 to replace them and the 99, and they were Pioneer. So like the system was unbranded from like a, where there was no outward branding.
Oh, right.
But Pioneer made the components.
Interesting.
At least
so when I was in high school, I had my first car was a 2-door Tahoe. I don't remember if I.
That's so pussy. Did you have the one? Was it like the Limited or something?
It was an LT, but it had like a luxury package. It had leather seats and heated seats, and the heated seat was like on a switch on the bottom where the power adjustable seats were,
like on the side of the seat.
Yes, and so. As a millennials were crazy about having the craziest sound system. I mean, you could put a period at the end of crazy, but
yeah, correct.
But like, right. But we were, I don't know how it was at your high school, but at my high school, like the bigger the sub, the more popular that you were.
Yeah. I had 212s in my Scion TC.
So did I. I had 212s in the back of my fucking Tahoe.
You couldn't put anything in the, like the TC that was the first gen that I had, like the little
yes. I just interviewed that drag queen that had one. Yes.
Well, so mine was the older one, but like same like size, same whatever, right? So like I had filled the whole trunk with a subwoofer box, and like I wasn't listening to like rap and like other shit like that.
Yeah, you were listening to Madonna.
Yeah, I was like, pull up to me at the light, and you're like, why do I hear the bass line to Vogue? Like. Yeah, anyway.
Well, meanwhile, I'm the motherfucker that's listening to Lil Wayne, A Milli in my fucking
That was such a good song though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We replaced the tweeters and the mid speakers in both the front and the back. Now, it only had a 6-speaker sound system. Two of them were in the roof in the trunk area, like the cargo space. And then it had 2 tweeters and then 2 mids. And then I got Sony Explode 12-inch in the like there were Walmart subwoofers. But then where I spent the money was on the amps. So I had this like 2 channel Panasonic what was it? Oh my God, I can't remember. I don't know. It was some higher end two separate, it was like 2 amps in one. And then I had a separate, and then that one was for these speakers. But then I had another amp. I had technically 3 amps. I had another amp for the subwoofers. And then I had a, the deck that I had was this like iPod adjacent thing so that I could plug my iPod in and then control my iPod on it. And this was back in like 2005, 2006. So I was like very...
Oh my God, I forgot you're old.
I am never doing a podcast with you ever again.
When did you get your license? I got mine in 2010. That was when I was turned 16.
So I was 16. So I was 10 in 2000. Yeah, 2006 is when I got my license.
Math is hard. Anyway, yeah.
No, it was 2006 because...
Wow, deleted old.
Wow. Okay, anyways. But I would be blasting whatever, and there was one day that... And I also didn't have the big... I had one friend who had two 15-inch subs, and I could not even get into his car because of how loud his shit was. You couldn't even hear the music.
We need to, like, follow up on people like that. Like, is your hearing okay? Like, what have we lost? I never did that. I couldn't stand that.
I know. I could barely. By the end of it, I was like, okay, I think I'm... But my second car, my Jeep Grand Cherokee, I did have one 12-inch sub. And then the last car, the last car I had before I moved to China, the Cadillac, I did not alter that at all. But
I have never done subs again since then. That was like the only
hell no. I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that. I don't care that much. you know, the automakers, I guess minus the Supra, come out with some pretty decent sound systems now. I mean, and honestly, it's funny. Actually, now that we're talking about this, my stock sound system in my Colorado is better than the stock sound system in the newest generation. Is what I found. I found that mine is louder, and now I will say that one is better in a separation sense, like you were talking about, but mine is louder, and I like it louder.
She likes it loud. She's a loud queen. I've replaced. I used to do it for other people too, but I've replaced stereos and speakers in a lot of the cars I've had over the years. The TC had a built-in subwoofer. I'm trying to remember where it was. It might have been like under the floor around the spare tire, but it sucked. Like it was bad. It had like it was maybe like an 8-inch speaker woofer in a large enclosure, but it just rattled everything and sounded bad. And so I unplugged that and I was like, absolutely not. And then like the rest of this, like without that, like there was nothing going on bass wise in that sound system, right? But oh my god. And then when I got the 1990 Honda, the front speakers were dead, the rear were like knocking on death's door, like they were hanging on by a thread, and I replaced them all with JBL. I think Jibble. Speaking of JBL, I replaced them all. I'm ignoring this. I refuse. I don't have the mental capacity to even. Is that did that come from a TikTok? What is it?
It's from Doja Cat. Before she went and hated on all of her fans, she was like promoting a JBL speaker, and she was holding up like a pocket size one and being like jibble jibble jibble.
You know, I wish I didn't ask. I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying.
You replaced.
Okay. 6x9s in the rear deck of that car from the factory. Okay. And I think the front were like 5-inch or something like that with like a base enclosure. The EX only had this special base enclosure for the front doors on the 1990 Accord.
Okay.
And so
even though those housings looked bigger though than 5 inches.
Honey. But oh my god. Wait, actually I can't believe because all we did was like film with the car when you were here. But that car has inordinate amounts of bass response, and it's just like a regular aftermarket Pioneer head unit that I put in it. But my neighbor, who is like a professional DJ, when he moved in, he heard me like driving back and like pulling in the driveway one day, and I wasn't even like blasting music, but he just was like staring at me with like his mouth open, and I was like, huh? And he was like, what you got in that car? And I was like, just some speakers, like some replacement speakers. And he was like, I'm not used to seeing that car with that kind of bass response coming from it. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's just like they used huge speakers. There was only 4 of them. Like back in the day, they were like, you want 12 speakers? You want 18? You want 30? Like, you get 4.
I know they really try to amp up the number of speakers in the cars nowadays in general.
I've driven cars in Europe, like rental cars that have two only in the front, and it's like gift card speakers.
See, this is what I'm talking. We need to do content in Europe, and I think it would be so fucking funny.
I also think Europe content would be fun, but Brenda, the ticket prices, you pay?
Angel investors.
An investor named Angel?
Yes. Oh, I had the Subaru Outback Limited.
Cute.
Yes, I had that this past week. Turbo,
non-turbo?
Non-turbo. So the Limited XT, if you ever see a Subaru with an XT on the back, that means it's got the turbo.
Yeah.
And I'm either Forester or Outback. And you know, I see their appeal, and I said this in the video. I see their appeal. It's got a Harman Kardon sound system. Speaking of sound systems, it does have a Harman Kardon sound system and a 8-inch subwoofer in the back.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, you know, 8 inches is plenty.
8 inches in the back, honey.
8 inches in the sounds like my Friday night.
Oh my God.
Don't act.
We already established I'm wearing dick earrings. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear these at Fire Island because I'm a faggot.
Because you're a
faggot. That was a good time. Wow.
And so I see the appeal. I didn't mind. So it was
a nice color. I saw that.
I loved that red color, and especially with like the black plastic molding, like very, very well put together. And so it got a mid-gen refresh. It's on its 6th generation, and the 22 model looks different from the 23. The back looks different. The back looks the same, but they kind of gave the front fascia a facelift. And
little tuck,
little yank.
Not the yank.
Well, you know how they do facelifts, right?
Yeah, I was watching this video about like all of Madonna's like cosmetic surgeries, and it was like illustrating that they like snip you out like right here.
Yeah, and then they literally yank it.
And I'm like, you know what? I didn't think face lift was that literal, but apparently it is. So I learned something.
Yeah.
And they did that to the Subaru.
Yes, they did that to the Subaru. I actually, I like the way that the new that it looks. Is it for me? No.
Are you a yoga class taking mother in a suburban neighborhood? I just described my own mother who drives a Volvo station wagon.
I could be if you wanted me to.
Honey. I feel like you would need the turbo.
Yes. So the non-turbo, the naturally aspirated makes 172 pound-feet of torque and 180 horsepower, and the turbo makes 220 horsepower and 216 pound-feet of torque. I think.
No, it's more than that. My friend had a turbo Outback or 22.
Right.
It is just more than that. I can't tell you what it is, but it's more than that. Are you Googling it?
Yeah.
My hole's so tight.
What the fuck? It's 260 and 277 pound-feet of torque. So yeah, it is more than that. But listen, I only had to remember it within the 30 seconds that I was shooting it, so I don't.
Yeah, no, girl, that's purged. She's gone. We don't know her anymore.
Yeah, she's gone. But yeah, so I mean, and it has a towing capacity of like 2,500 pounds with the naturally aspirated, and then an extra 800 pounds, so like 3,200, with the turbo engine. So you could tow a couple of jet skis at least with that, or maybe like a U-Haul trailer at the most. But you're not towing like a 10,000 pound boat, but
right. And I feel like you probably wouldn't want to do that with I mean, those aren't small, but they're not huge. Like
the wheels have torque vectoring though, which I found to be impressive.
Is that part of their symmetrical all-wheel drive?
Symmetrical all-wheel drive. I think that is just what they refer to it as torque vectoring. I mean, it's like literally just torque vectoring, but they just like marketed it so that lay people can understand it.
Lay people. Torque vectoring is almost like a drag name. Like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to stage Torque Vector.
That's a drag king name.
True.
Yeah, Torque Vector. That is a male name.
Torque Vector. That's kind of slay.
Yeah, you were gonna say cunt, but that wouldn't apply.
But then that wouldn't have made sense. So I was like, I pivoted.
It's very. What would you say? So what would you say? Would you say cock? That's very cock. That's very penis.
That's very hog.
Hog.
It needs to be Chris.
Yeah, because I think I think hog is cunt adjacent.
Well, it's like they call it hog. They call it hog body on Drag Race, right? So I think hog. Like all I can hear is Adore Delano being like, "I got a fucking hog body."
Do you know that she recently came out as trans?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she is trans. I love that for her.
I love that. Like I can only imagine what a person's journey of like doing drag and then you are separating drag from being a trans individual and being like, no, I actually am a trans person. So I always feel like happy for those people who've been able to go through that.
Me too. Yeah,
Even though I still think her voice is annoying, but I love her. I like rewatch her episodes all the time.
Canceled.
Yeah, I'm from Azusa.
I'm from Azusa. Party. No, I love that fry. Are you kidding? Come on.
Very that.
I love that. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Because you know that people think that I'm from California because people think that I like talk like a Californian.
Because you're a faggot.
That's so fucking rude, but also true.
I feel like I could see that because you kind of got like a little you talk like you're unconcerned.
Hey, you guys. It's me, Kim. I'm here to promote my new brand, Poosh. It's a health and wellness beauty brand. I can keep going if you want.
I don't. Okay. I don't.
Oh, speaking of, I'm going back to the speaker topic. I also recently was in contact with a 2022 GMC Sierra 2500 heavy duty. And it was white and it was a Denali. It was gorgeous. It had like the appropriate amount of chrome.
Which is lots.
Which is like the grill, the rims, and the sidebars.
I feel like if you got like an HD truck or like a 2500 or like that tier, it's like either a chromed out like Chip Foose is creaming his pants, or like it's nothing, or it's a work truck.
Right. I forgot one piece, the chrome on the windowsills. Yeah. But you know how the GM products, the GM pickup trucks now have those flex tailgates that literally turns into like a staircase.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what I didn't know, I've been in contact with these before, but what I didn't know is that you can get a kicker Bluetooth sound system on one of the steps in this thing, so that when you're tailgating, it's got a Bluetooth speaker in the back, and it's a kicker.
That is so unique.
I love it. As somebody who,
but like, do you have to charge it, or is it like wired? Like,
that is a great question that I don't know the answer to.
I feel like it'd be like very Pussiana if it was like you click her into her spot and she's like, I'm charging. I'm unbothered. Remember like those Dodge not
you talking about a quarter truck, not you talking about a heavy duty truck.
Did you watch the reel that I sent you like an hour ago?
Oh no, I was too riddled with anxiety.
Well, it was like this guy being like, and I don't know if he's gay. My friend sent it to me, and it's like this guy that looks kind of like Yeehaw, and he's like, I think gays should take over the dualies. I want to see dualies in the Pride Parade. And I was like, so true, bestie. Like, I will take over a dually. Me driving a large vehicle, terrifying, but I'm gonna serve cunt doing it. Give me a dually.
Okay, I see that for you.
That's all there was to that thought.
All right. Well, I don't. I've never driven a dually, and I'm actually kind of afraid of them. I'm not gonna lie.
I drove one when I worked at CarMax because it had a check engine light, and our service department was not very big, so a lot of cars, especially customer cars, would get like sent to dealers, and they would pay whatever the fuck it cost. And it was it was like the biggest one you could get. And I remember just like turning out the CarMax lot and just flooring it and being like, I'm driving this thing like it's a Mini Cooper. I'm just like, like, and
but that's how you do
died
in those.
Yeah,
but that's how people drive.
Everyone else moves out of the way because you're driving a fucking freight train. I mean, I had fun. I don't know if anybody else did.
I mean, I had fun. We like that fun.
Yeah, we love that fun. I love that fun.
I like that fun.
Yeah.
I keep also seeing, speaking of TikTok, I keep seeing these TikTok videos of like, would I survive car crash scenarios where it's like these 3D modeled cars that are just sitting there and there's like a concrete wall behind it. And there's like a concrete truck that comes and fucking smashes into it at like 55 miles an hour. And there was one with a original Bronco and the thing just like pancaked to the wall.
I've seen a couple of those too, and I'm always like, how well are those modeled? Like, how accurate is that actually? Because I saw one that was like, for some reason, like the shot was, it was like several different cars, and the shot was like going through like a toll booth and then like crashing into like a barrier, like after like braking or something. And a couple of them I was like, I don't think physics works that way, babes. But did I? Oh my God. I think I've told you about, speaking of car crashes,
oh, wow.
When I wrecked my 944 that I had.
Trigger warning.
Literally. I T-boned a Pathfinder Armada because it was the first year when they were still calling it that, a Nissan Pathfinder Armada, because they ran through a stop sign. After that, I was psychotically, neurotically fascinated with crash test videos for like 3 straight months. I think I was trying to like understand, what my
survivor's guilt,
for real, like what my entire body had just experienced. Because like I had an 85 944. That's a car that was like designed in the 70s.
You're talking about a Porsche, right?
Yes, yeah.
And
I no airbags, right? I like
Jesus.
I hit them going probably like 35, 40, something like that. The 8-mile long hood of that car absorbed the full impact. The doors didn't even bend, the roof, the floor, the windshield barely even cracked, right? Like,
wow.
But it was a violent crash. Like
you said 35 miles an hour?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And like I had a chest contusion. I think what happened was that my head scraped the sun visor because I had a cut on my forehead, and then I bent the steering wheel with my body. But I was 22, so I was made of like Jello. I like walked away. It was fine. But anyway, after that, I just kept anybody that I knew, like I would be like, what is their car? Is it safe? Like, are they gonna die? And like, and then I still had my Infiniti as well. And like, I didn't drive for like a week after that. I was like petrified. But then I just became obsessed with like, okay, this car, there's like in the moderate overlap IHS test has like it was neurotic, right? Like it was insane. But like I guess that was my coping. And now I drive. Now clearly, I learned nothing because I don't drive.
Yeah, literally.
At least I have airbag in most of my cars.
Airbag. I love how you said singular airbag.
I think the coupe has 2 at least. The coupe, when I bought it, had not had the Takata airbag recall done.
Okay.
One that'll kill you because it'll like explode.
Yeah,
so I took it directly to the dealer, and they were probably like, "What the fuck is this pile of shit?" And like, they put a new airbag in it, like free. So.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to have an irrational fear of airbags going off in my face, like at random.
Just like you're like in the Starbucks drive-thru, and you just like get punched in the face because you're like,
yeah. I'm like looking at the design of the steering wheel, and I'm like trying to figure out how it deploys, like what actually like opens up, or does it rip open, or like but yeah, I don't. Thankfully
how it comes out,
yeah, and thankfully I've never been in a car accident, and I'm knocking on wood. But yes. I've been in some near misses, and I did get into a fender bender in my '99 two-door Tahoe. Mm-hmm. I did. Some girl crashed. She hit the back of my car and bent my rear bumper.
But those were like steel, right? They were metal.
They were literally steel, yeah. But I was still pissed, and I like tried to get her to pay for it, and like she wouldn't. And yeah, I think her name was like, yeah. Anyways, so, but it's funny that you bring up those IIHS videos up, mm-hmm. because my dad sent me once a video of test on the Mazda CX-50's A-pillar. That like they did like a pressure test on the A-pillar. That fucking car, it makes me want to buy it alone, because they had to have put like 700 pounds of pressure on it, and it was like it didn't budge. Like
really,
it was
that's
amazing.
So
crazy.
I vaguely know somebody whose name I will refrain from sharing who was in a scary looking car wreck this morning. That car, that Volvo after this wreck, looked like largely intact, like structurally. And it's an older model, and I'm just like, oh my god! I'm thinking to myself, like, I would be like 17 pieces if I like had a wreck like that in my 1990 Accord. But it just goes to show you that like modern car safety. I'm thinking of modern as like post millennium. And like, of course, even since then, it's just like so much more insane. But like, do you remember? Have you ever seen those videos on like old Top Gear of them like dropping the E30 BMW and like the older Saab upside down on their roofs?
Yes,
and the Saab is just like, what about
it?
It's just like, damn, people really used to drive cars. People, as if I'm not one of them, that were just like total death traps.
100%. I mean, and it wasn't even, I mean, some cars back in the day, like back in the 70s, especially, didn't even have seatbelts in the back. I mean,
yeah, there was like all of that rage when they were like making seatbelts a thing. And then, God, what was it? There was,
and then they only put 2-point seatbelts in the back.
Yes. And there was the interlock that was federally mandated for like half of a second in the 70s. You couldn't start the car unless the seatbelt was clicked. And it's like,
which is still a thing.
Well, that was like every single car had to have that. I don't know if that's like now been reinstated as a thing, but like it was so like it pissed so many people off. Oh my god, I have a story.
Freedom.
I have a story to tell you.
Okay.
Speaking of seatbelts, so my bestie, whose name is Lauren. Hi, Lauren, if you're listening. We were in high school, and she wouldn't wear her seatbelt in the car because her grandpa didn't wear the seatbelt when he drove. And she was like, I need to fucking wear my seatbelt. We were like 18, like she was probably 17. And I would always be like, wear your seatbelt. And she'd be like, no. And I'm like, okay. So one day, and this is like psychotic of me, we were leaving her neighborhood, and I accelerated to like, you know, like it was probably like 50, 60 miles an hour, like that road we were on. And I just wordlessly slammed on the brake. And she slid forward and, you know, into the dashboard. And I said, now wear your fucking seatbelt. And she will tell you that story. Like she will tell like anybody she meets about that story, like with glee to this day, because from that moment on, she realized what the fuck happens to people that don't wear their seatbelts. And like, imagine if that was like hitting, like, it wasn't just a braking force. She was like hitting something stationary. But so many people have no idea.
It's a shame. It's a shame that people don't really understand like the physics behind cars and like the like and how you're basically and I'm quoting Katya, you're basically driving a loaded gun. I mean, like it's literally a fucking loaded gun that could go off at any time. I mean, and you could one of my more recent crash story, like adjacent stories, is I was at a traffic light in Uptown Charlotte when I was living in Charlotte, and my friend and I were at the front of the line at the stoplight, and it was across from Uptown Charlotte where they serve tits and grits every night, and the strippers there loved me. Anyways,
obsessed.
So shout out to Uptown Charlotte. They literally had a night called Tits and Grits.
I think we need to make a pilgrimage.
It was amazing. This Lexus ES I can't remember if they got hit or what, but they did a full 360 and it felt like Russian roulette because we were like, are they going to hit us? And then they narrowly missed us and then crashed into the car on the like next to us. It was, we were in my friend's Saab, and I can't remember what model she had, but it was a Saab, and we were just sitting there and we were like, like, because she was like, oh my God, look at that. And then I was like, oh my God, it's coming around. And like,
I've had a few accidents happen directly in front of me. It's like in the sound they make. I will never be able to forget. Oh my God.
They're really intense.
We have unlocked a memory. Speaking of crash this video, speaking of crashing. Because I'm very adamant about seatbelt wearing. You ever seen what happens to, like, if you're driving, you're in the front seat, or there's a passenger in the front seat, and a backseat passenger is not wearing their seatbelt.
Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine.
They fly into your seat and crush you into the steering wheel or the dashboard. That's what happens.
I know. I can imagine.
You're crushing your chest, your face, because 150 or, I mean, God, whatever your person weighs just became a missile. And so I'm always like, you get in my fucking car, I am literally not driving until you put your fucking seatbelt on. Like, I do not play that game. I'm like, I am going to die some way. It ain't going to be that, okay? Because I need to die. I need to die immediately when I die. I don't need to be choking on my blood or something.
Same. Yeah, let's reel it in. Yeah. Should we keep talking about crashes?
How about Crash by Charli XCX?
I'm about to crash into
the water, gonna take you with me. Oh my God, so the episode title, Crash by Charli XCX.
Yes. Have I witnessed any major accidents? I witnessed a car fire on the side of the road once, and I could feel the heat of the car's fire in my car.
You can be on the opposite side of a divided highway and feel that heat. Isn't that nuts?
Yes, that is a little sketchy, and not very cute.
Are you wearing a Tom of Finland tank top?
I might be. I don't really wear this one out as much because there's a literal naked man with boots, and it looks like he's fucking the other guy behind.
I hope he is.
I hope so too.
Is that motorcycle? I was gonna say, is that a motorcycle or Lady Gaga? Cover of Born This Way. Oh, it's been a long day. You can always tell when we get to that end of that hour slot because shit just gets so weird.
Oh God. I was trying to remember the beginning of Highway Unicorn, and I can't remember it right now.
We can be. No, that's Road to Love.
Anyway, I got the BMW buyer is coming tomorrow. So today's
I
Blueberry's.
forgot about that.
Yeah, today's Blueberry's last day at the lot. I'm kind of sad.
Wow. Did you take her out for the farewell drive, or you're just I'm not touching this because if it gets fucked up, I'm not.
Well, he's already deposited the money in my account via Zelle, and so I am not. Actually, he deposited it. He deposited it through Apple Pay, because did you know that Apple Pay you can send up to $10,000 on Apple Pay at one time?
Isn't Zelle
Zelle, you can only send $2,500 a day and $5,000 a month, but Apple Pay, $10,000.
Apple Pay said, "Girl, we do not care."
Yeah, Apple Pay said, "Give me the money. Show me the money."
Who's the FDIC? I don't know her.
FDIC this money.
That is pretty interesting, though. That's I don't think I've ever. Well, God, the way that I bought cars is like a fucking pilgrim. I've always gotten cash. I've always gotten cash or a cashier's check.
Well, what's so funny is that my mom wanted me to, carry a lantern and put on my bonnet, to go do the transaction.
Your habit.
Yeah, my habit, my nun's habit.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to go do that. She was like, "Now go to a bank, have him get a cashier's check, and then have them notarize the back of it." Of course, your mother
and I would have the same car purchasing method, right?
I don't know, but I'm just I am glad that it is going, because I mean I've always wanted a BMW, but this isn't really how I wanted a BMW. I really want a 3 Series really bad, because I just feel like those are the quintessential 3 BMWs.
It kind of is the BMW.
Yeah, it's the BMW. I mean, it's funny that the 7 Series is the flagship, but in my mind, the 3 Series is the flagship.
That's kind of I've always said Not always. I've long said that like the E-Class is Mercedes, right? Like in like you like in the same vein, like no bitch, like S-Class gets everything first, and then it trickles down. Like not always, but like most of the time. But for me, it's like the bread and butter. Like I've had two of them, so like I'm a little biased. But I feel like with BMW, like 5 Series is kind of like whatever, but like 3 Series, it's like the girls love her. She's been in many forms. She's had many fun little additions. It's like a lot of people's like introduction to a sporty car as well.
Yeah. It's funny because I do feel like the 5 Series is just kind of like an afterthought to me. Like, whereas like, which is funny because all the magazines that I've read on the newest 5 Series have said that it is the best performing car out of like the M2, the 5 Series, or the M5 and the M3. Is that the M5 is like the best out of all of them.
Interesting. Love
so
that.
And especially like the Alpina. Ooh, yeah.
Honey.
But did you did you drive Ross's M2?
Briefly, yes. And
you got to drive that thing?
Mm-hmm.
That fucking M2. There's no reason that tiny little car should have that much power.
I am inclined to agree. But then again, I am dailying a car with 166 horsepower 17 years ago. So I think that I am perhaps not the best person to make that.
Okay.
Valid. Although I did enjoy driving the 382 horsepower in the Supra and flooring it all the time. And by all the time, I mean not at all. Because it was like, I was like power tripping. It was amazing. Plus, I love a straight six. BMW straight six.
BMW gay six.
I want BMW gay six would be like in an X3 or something, like at least X1.
Right. So you're saying that smaller cars are gay?
No, I'm saying that gays lease BMWs.
Yeah, but they mostly lease 3 Series and like black base model 3 Series.
Do they still make a 320? Do you remember when that was like the F30 generation? They were like, we're going to still put a turbo in it, but we're going to make like half a PSI. And you'll still have to deal with that when it fails, but you won't get any of the power that you get with a 328.
Wow.
330.
Honestly, no, I don't remember that.
My dad's car is a 2012. It's an F30 the first year, and it's a 328. And I think that car has like a decent little amount of power. It's like 250 or something like that. It's a 6-speed.
Okay. Yeah, my brother has the 2011. Actually, he doesn't have it anymore. It's my dad's now because my dad loved it so much that he didn't want to get rid of it. But because now my brother has that fucking mint 5 Series from the 90s.
Yeah, that thing is gorgeous.
Oh my God, is that thing insane? And it has a front hinged hood.
Clamshell hood, baby.
A clamshell hood. Yeah.
Yes, I love those. Some older Hondas have that too.
Really?
Like the old
that is strange.
6 Preludes and shit. Yeah.
You know what I saw on social media today that I haven't seen in a very long time is that old like Jaguar supercar.
XJ220.
What was that thing? The XJ220. I saw that today and I was like, I totally forgot about that thing. That's like pinnacle Jaguar.
But isn't that the one? I feel like I don't know entirely enough about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It was like supposed to have a V12, but then they were like, we're going to do a twin turbo V6. And everybody was like, why? But it still ended up being like a big deal and like a performer. And
girl, I forgot the name of it. You think I know what kind of powertrain it had? Well, anyways, any new side and anything like new or exciting coming up for you?
At some point, I assume I will see my Mercedes again.
Oh, right.
I still have no idea when it's going to be ready. But I like to think that it could be,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that's
been a long time.
It has been. It has been. Do you want to know? I did this the other day. I put in like the date that it was sent away. sent away. And it was a few days ago. It was like 6 weeks and 2 days, and then it like also told you how many seconds it has been, and like it was like crazy numbers and stuff like that. But yeah, she's been gone a minute. Should we wrap up?
Yes.
Do you want me to do the thing?
Yeah, I would like that.
You're like my turn. On that note, let's go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. You can now listen to our podcast wherever they're available. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, plus share with whomever. That was really bad.
You're doing great, sweetie.
We now have our support channels open, so if you want to contribute to our podcast, you can contribute 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 and cancel that at any time. Any and all help is appreciated.
Yeah, so to echo Chris, thank you guys again for listening. Anyways, it is about that time that we get off of this airwave and maybe go to bed.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again for listening, and goodbye.
Bye.